Interest. Figure out what you enjoy doing most in life and then try to do it full time. Life is short, follow your passion. After much consideration, I took the Lenja path to follow your passion. Whenever it is that you want to do, you will find in life that if you're not passionate about what it is you're working on, you won't be able to stick with it. Quite often, they say just that I love what I do, but they also say things like, I'm so lucky, I get up every morning looking forward to work, I can't wait to get into studio, I can't wait to get on with their next project. These people are doing things not because they have to do, or because it is financially lucrative. Yeah, I was warned that overly idealistic dreams of finding something I loved. I was reminded that certain jobs, like being a doctor, were both high income and high status, and that these things would matter more to me in the long run than I might appreciate in the moment. It seems worth considering the possibility that it's best to choose practically over passion. First, research shows that people are enormously more satisfied with their jobs when they do something that fits their personal interest. This is the conclusion of a meta-analysis that aggregated data from almost 100 different studies that collectively included working adults in just about every conceivable profession. And people who really enjoy interacting with people are not happy when their job is to work alone at a computer all day. Yeah, that's true. They're much better off in jobs like in sales or teaching. What's more, people whose job is match their personal interests are, in general, happier with their lives as a whole. Second, people perform better at work when what they do interests them. Employees whose intrinsic personal interests fit with their occupation do their jobs better, are more helpful to their coworkers, and stay at their jobs longer. College students in whose personal interests align with their major earn higher grades and are less likely to drop out. Desire and passion, the strength of our interest. Worldwide, only 13% of adults call themselves engaged at work. So it seems that very few people end up loving what they do for a living. Should we stop telling people to follow your passion and instead tell them to follow our orders? I believe that thousands of data points in those meta-analyses, which confirm the common sense intuition that interest matters. Nobody's interested in everything, and everyone is interested in something. So, matching yourself to what captures your attention and imagination is a good idea. It may not guarantee happiness or success, but it sure helps the odds. Most would do exactly that in a heartbeat, if only they had a passion in the first place. If I'm ever invited to give a commencement speech, I'll begin with an advice to foster passion. And then I will spend the rest of my time trying to change my mindset about how that actually happens. Mm. I assumed that all have stories about a singular moment when suddenly they discovered their God-given passion. In my mind's eye, this is an ephemeral event with a dramatic lighting and a thousand tracks of browsing orchestral music commensurate with its moment of life-changing import. But in fact, most degree paragons that I'm interested and the one that eventually came to occupy all of their waking and some sleeping thoughts wasn't recognizably their lives and destiny on first acquaintance. To think it has taken me 40 years to find the true passion, Cat and husband expected. So while we might envy those who love in what they do for a living, we should assume that they started from a different place than the rest of us. Chances are they took quite some time figuring out exactly what they wanted to do with their lives. Commencement speakers and may say about their vocation, I can't imagine doing anything else. But in fact, there wasn't a time early in life when they could. I'm in my early 30s and have no idea what to do with myself, career wise. All my life, I've been one of those people who hasn't been told how smart I am or how much potential I have. I'm interested in so much stuff that I paralyzed to try anything. It seems like every job requires a specialized certificate or designation that requires a long-term time and a financial investment before you can even try the job, which is a bit abstract. Barry thinks that what prevents a lot of young people from developing a serious career interest is unrealistic expectations. It's really the same problem a lot of young people have of finding a romantic partner. He said they want somebody who's really attractive and smart and kind and empathetic and thoughtful and funny. Try telling a 21-year-old that they can't find a person who is absolutely the best in every way. They don't listen. They're holding out for perfection. Oh, she's wonderful. Oh, okay. Oh, she's wonderful. More wonderful than I am, certainly. But is she perfect? Is she the only person I could have made in a happy life with? Am I the only man in the world with whom she could have made a wonderful marriage? I don't think so. A lot of things seem uninteresting and superficial until you start doing them, and after a while, you realize that there are so many facets you didn't know at the start, and you never can fully solve the problem or fully understand it, or what have you. Well, that requires that you stick with it. Actually, finding a man isn't a perfect analogy. Meeting a potential match, not the one and the only perfect match, but a promising one, is only the very beginning. Aside from the rather vague explanation and interests are, like everything else about us, partly heritable and a perfect and functional life experience. I can tell you, but scientific research on evolution of interest has yielded some important insights. My sense is that, fortunately, these basic facts aren't commonly understood, but a first encounter with one might eventually lead to a lifelong passion exactly that, just in an opening sense and a much longer, less dramatic narrative. Here's what science has to say. Passion for your work is in a little bit of the discovery, followed by a lot of development, and then a lifetime of deepening. This is because you can't really predict with certainty what will capture your attention and what won't. You can simply will yourself to like things either. It's best as it's absurd. One of the huge mistakes people make is that they try to force an interest on themselves. Without experimenting, you can't figure out which interest will stick and which won't. In other words, when you just start to get interested in something, you may not even realize that's what's happening. The emotion of the boredom is just always self-conscious. You know it when you feel it. But when your attention is attracted to a new activity or experience, you may have a very little reflective appreciation of what's happening to you. This means that at the start of a new endeavor, asking yourself nervously every few days whether you find your passion is premature. Crucially, the initial triggering of a new interest in much of the followed by subsequent encounters that re-trigger your attention again and again and again. For one thing, they provide the ongoing stimulation and information that is essential to actually liking something more and more. Also, more obviously, positive feedback makes us feel happy, competent, and secure. It is a drug. The passion don't come to us all at once, as if it finishes without the need to actively develop them. Maybe, but the reality is that our interests are fragile, vaguely defined, and in need of energetic, years of long cultivation and refinement. Um, I couldn't agree more. Even in the development of your interest, there is work, practicing, studying, learning to be done. Still, my point is that most people stick even more than what they don't love. So parents to be, and the non-parents of all ages, I have a message for you. People hard work comes play. People those who've yet to fix an passion and ready to spend hours a day, diligent in honing skills, they must not go for ground, triggering and re-triggering interest. Of course, developing an interest and requires time and energy, and yes, some discipline and sacrifice. But at this earliest stage, novices aren't obsessed with getting better. They're not thinking years and years into the future. They don't know what their top level, life-orienting goal is will be. More than anything else, they're having fun. In other words, even the most accomplished and expert starts as an unserious beginner, interested in discover and developed. Unserious beginners? Hmm. In other words, in other words, even the most accomplished of experts starts out as an unserious beginner. Encouragement during the early years is crucial because beginners are still figuring out whether they want to commit or kill bait. Much of the introduction of the field was a playful activity, and the learning at the beginning of this stage was much like a game. Most young people today will find it difficult to fully own interest and decided without their input. Uh, as the start of the board, we need encouragement and freedom to figure out what we enjoy. We need small wins. We need applause. Yes, we can handle the tincture of a criticism and a corrective feedback. Yes, we need to practice, but not too much and not too soon. Rush a beginner and you will bolden their budding interest. It is very, very hard to get them back once you do. Wow. Okay. Let's return our commencement speakers. Their cases studies and passion. So there's really something to be learned from how they spend their early years. New York Times puzzle editor Wishosen told me that his mother was a writer and a lover of words, and that her mother, in turn, had been a crossword fan. Predictably, the first in a puzzle book, the angel triggered his curiosity was followed by the suite of others. Word puzzle. Hmm. What about the Jeff Bezos? I'm always funny. Wall Shorts told me I'm always stretching my brain in a new way, trying to find a new clue for a word. Such a new thing. I read it once, A writer said in that if you're bored within writing, that means you are bored with life. I think the same is in true puzzles. If you are bored with puzzles, you are bored with life because they are so diverse. Pretty much every great paragon I've talked to, including my own dad, says the same thing. And in examining it one largest case study after another, I find that grittier as individuals and fewer career changes they're likely to make. Oh my god, this was I bought 2 years ago, and I feel so much different that I read this book at first. And after 2 years, and I feel like, oh my god, it's like, oh my, uh, a lot of insight. Okay. In contrast, we all know people have habitually threw themselves in a headlong into a new project, developing a fierce interest, only to move after 3 or 4 years into something entirely different. There seems no harm in pushing a variety of different hobbies, but understanding new occupations and never settling down within just one is a more serious matter. I'll call him a short Thomas. Jean has been promoting public art in the home city of Philadelphia for more than 30 years as the director of the Rebirth in Metal Arts program. Okay. For help understanding the ever deeper interest in experts, I turned to the psychology and before I did like to follow your passion, but having a fostered one, you mustn't begin in the beginning discovery. Ask yourself a few simple questions. What do I think about? Where does my mind wander? What do I really care about? What matters most to me? How do I enjoy spending my time? And in contrast, what do I find absolutely unbearable? Wow. If you find it hard to answer these questions and try to recall in your teen 10 years, the stage of life at which vocational interest in comedy sprout. As soon as you have even general direction in mind, you must trigger your nascent interest. Do this by going out there into the world and doing something. To young graduates, reading their hands over and what to do, I say experiment, try. You will certainly learn more if you don't. At this early stage of exploration, here are a few relevant rules of thumb taken from an voice say, how to solve the New York Times and crossword puzzle. Hmm. Begin with the answer you're sure listening and build from there. However ill defined your interest. There are some things that you hate doing for a living and doing things that seem more promising than others. That's your start. Don't be afraid to guess. Like it or not, there's a certain amount of trial and error inherent in the process of interest discovery. Oh, trial and error, okay? Unlike the answer to crossword puzzles, there isn't just one thing you can do that might develop into a passion. There are many. You don't have to find the right one, or even the best one. Just a direction that feels good. It can also be difficult to know if it's something will be a good fit until you try it for a while. Feel good. Feel good. Don't be afraid to erase the answer that isn't working out. At some point, you may choose to write your top level or end in double ink, but until you know for sure, working in pencil. If on the other hand, you already have a good sense of what you enjoy and spending your time doing, it's just time to develop your interest. After discovering comes development. Remember that interest must be triggered again and again and again. Find the ways to make that happen. And have a patience. The development of an interest takes time. Keep asking questions, and let the answers into those questions lead you to more questions. Continue to dig. Seek out the other people who share your interest. Zero, often encouraging mentor, whatever your age. Over time, your role as a learner will become a more active and informed one. Over a period of years, your knowledge and expertise will grow, and along with it, your confidence and curiosity to know more. I think I should read this book today. Okay, I feel a little bit tired. Okay, here